big hello to all my very patient, wonderful patient binder pioneers. Just wanted to give you an update and make sure that we're all on the same page. I know it's been a couple of days since I've nagged you. Um, just like you, I have competing struggles and challenges, and I have to make sure that I take care of myself. So it's all good. I assure you that I'm not sleeping. I'm pretty much working on the binder, thinking about the binder, or dealing with the situation, which could probably be applied to the binder. So I want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row, and I do want to get that detailed patient profile to you. I apologize. I know some of the stuff that I've sent you has typos occasionally. Just for an understanding, this was the original one I did in 2 days before class, and you can see I have tons of notes like this needs to be fixed, this needs to be better, this needs to be better. I can't make things perfect, but I think it's very important that I do get the detailed profile to you, just because it puts all that information into one place, and ideally you would put that in your folder, because every time you go to a doctor or therapist appointment, they want the same information, and then it's all at your fingertips. You know, as far as medications go, I want to get you the medication record, and I want to definitely make sure that you have just, diagnoses and your insurance information. You don't have that memorized, and you don't have to dig through your purse and look for your card and everything. It's all just listed, and yeah, so that's definitely a worthwhile time investment. Same with the medication and pharmacy list. A lot of places will ask you, what's your pharmacy? Where are they located at? What's their phone number? Instead of having to go on your phone and be like, oh, okay, it's here, it's this one or that one. Like, it's already in one place. It's in a folder ready to go, and the pockets are open. Ideally, if you get the 3-hole prong one that I showed you in the earlier video, you would stick this in the middle, and whatever paperwork you got from there, you would take home and you would put it here in your own chart, so that you would have all your information in one central location and something for on the go. That is why I had the folder idea, and honestly, the clipboard and this and that was just pretty much just helping me out right now. And it's working out well, because it is coming along. I'm definitely coming into something a little more neat, and it looks a bit chaotic because of all the tabs and stuff like that, but I promise you that was more or less just for me. That's why I always say take what you need and leave the rest. Just trying to do my due diligence, and like I said, I have a lot of different things going on in my life. Tomorrow I start my RAP, wellness recovery action plan. Nami wants me to do it, and I'm very interested and excited in it, 'cause it's at the University of Chicago, which is my dream school, so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. And honestly, one of the things that I had in this is the NAP, or the RAP, Nami and RAP put together, thing for the patient to get involved. They had a downloadable thing on their website called the post-crisis plan. So I want, to engage with patients, so maybe if they're at that point, they can go through and they can fill this out, and they can get interested in their treatment. I'm always thinking of ways to get patients motivated to take ownership and control of their illness, because in my personal experience, I underestimated mine. When I make this binder, I think, what do I wish that I had? Because now, especially when I'm applying for Social Security, they're asking me for information about hospitalization dates from 2011. I've been to a lot of hospitals, a lot, and I have no idea what date I was admitted. I have no idea what date I was discharged. I have no idea what medications I was put on then, and when I stopped them, and what doctor it was, and this and that. It would easily overwhelm anyone That's why I wish I'd written it down. That's why I'm always telling you now, document. Whatever way works best for you, document. What are your emotions? What are their emotions? If you can get your loved one to do this themselves on paper, I believe I've sent you the handout for a paper daily symptom tracker. If I haven't, go ahead and contact me. I will happily give it to you. Also, cannot say enough good things. I've been using it myself. Is you go to DBS Alliance, DBSALLIANCE.org, DBSA or DBSAalliance.org, and you can download the wellness tracker for your smartphone and then your computer. And it asks you all the right questions, and it's definitely not profit motivated. It's not trying to recommend a therapist or a drug to you, and they do hit all the marks. They allow you to put notes and comments, and then they also have special places where the patient, if they're filling it out for themselves, tips, things to remind them to help with. Just check it out. Like, definitely for yourself. If they're not doing it, if they can't do it, do it yourself. Anyways, if they are doing it, you can compare notes, and you never know when they might be reporting one thing and you see that, they say they're feeling this way, but they're definitely acting quite differently. The more information and knowledge you have, the better. Just keep in mind that people might look and act one way and feel a completely different way in the inside. You never really know. We're working on that. Upcoming Nami stuff, I hate to be kind of late on it, but today being the 24th, tomorrow's Thursday, it's the 25th. That would be the weekly Lansing DBSA support group. Again, DBSA stands for Depression Bipolar Support Alliance. I really like the Lansing group. It is for people that are struggling with mood disorders. They say specifically depression and bipolar, but pretty much anyone, I've gone to that group. They have regularly attending members that know each other. It's a decent sized group. They very much are like family. That's what they say, is like, we're like family here. And family members are welcome to come if you need to go by yourself or ideally with your loved one. It's all about getting them involved in their treatment. More importantly, always treating yourself. Do not underestimate these diagnoses and illnesses. That was my fatal flaw, because even though I had studied it, I lived with it, I experienced it, I got out of the hospital at 21. I definitely did not think it would incapacitate me. Your brain doesn't stop developing theoretically until you're 25. That's when the prefrontal cortex, which has to do with planning and decision making, all that, higher level organization thinking, that's when that structure, that's the last thing to develop at age 25, which is a far cry from 18 and 21. So at 21, I was not planning okay, well, I want in here and I'll take these medications, and I was definitely not thinking this is where I'm going to be at 28. Yeah, that was not on my radar. At 28, I definitely was planning to be a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get back there. Let's be positive. But yeah, that is located at 3500 Glenwood Lansing Road. Across the street from the Lansing Airport is a church. It's Bethel Church, and that's in Lansing, Illinois. It's from 7 to 9 p.m. I would definitely check it out. It's a great group. Another great group for consumers is the Nami Consumers Connection group, and they have that the third Wednesday of the month, and starts at 5 p.m. Double check. It is at the South Suburban Council, which is located on 174th Street and Dixie Highway. and it is in East Hazel Crest, 60429. That's here in Illinois. You need to go to door F. So if you have a mentally ill loved one, this is just for them, a support group for them. It meets the third Wednesday of every month, 5 p.m. The guy that runs it, he has a mental illness. He has a degree in psychology. He's very nice. He's been trained by Nami to run these programs. It's definitely it's a little more focused and a little bit different than the DBSA, but still a wonderful place to go, and I would love to see the group get bigger. And I like the fact that there's someone there and providing that service that is very much needed in the community. I just don't think people are aware of it. And getting to it, like I said, it's at door F. I think F for fun. And door F is by the Dunkin Donuts. So if you go to the Dunkin Donuts, because you're going to see a building with a bunch of just letters on doors, that's where you go. Moving right along, this is particularly for child, pediatric, adolescent psych. On Friday, October 26th, that's this Friday, there's going to be a Nami Basics workshop, and that's going to be at Christ Lutheran Church, held by Stephanie Thomas. And Christ Lutheran Church is at 14700 South 94th Avenue, Orland Park, Illinois, 60462. It starts at 6:30 p.m. It's supposed to be a 6-week class, and it is designed for parents and caregivers of children and adolescents with mental health conditions specifically. And once again, seeing as a lot of you guys had 20-something children like myself, they're still kind of displaying behaviors like adolescents, so it never hurts to get more information about treating mental health conditions, communication, problem solving, and coping skills. And particularly for people that have children and teenagers, it also is supposed to address what's going on with the school system and their role in mental illness and stuff like that. Because they definitely let me slip way through the cracks. I've had teachers tell me later in life, like, oh yeah, I thought there was something really wrong with you. They're right. But anyways, definitely check that out, because probably for time and resources, Nami's not able to have these like full classes. Like the family-to-family class was great, but I just don't think they have enough volunteers right now. And I think that the basics, if you can even go to a workshop and get information on that, the more information you can get, especially if you're dealing with an adolescent or a child, it's really important, because the lines quickly blur in those fields, in my opinion. And just kind of, is it the hormones? Is it the teen? Is it a passing phase? Is this normal? Is this not normal? You don't want to be medicating children and diagnosing children, and we want to avoid all that, because their brains are developing, and putting them on psychiatric medications when there are other interventions that are much, much, much more effective are available. So that is, again, taking care of yourself, going out and getting an education, no matter where you are in your illness, or their illness, no matter where they are. Go and seek treatment for yourself, because their madness could most certainly drive you easily to your own, craziness and level. It's definitely overwhelming, anxiety provoking. Those are valid feelings. Be proactive. Don't underestimate the illness. The other thing that's coming up is on Tuesday the 30th, there's going to be a legislative dialogue held at Prairie State College there's a breakfast that starts at 8:30, and the discussion and the dialogue's 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. A lot of House representatives and senators and people like Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Grand Prairie Services, Aunt Martha's, all those types of organizations have, they're kind of a part of this one big thing called the Southland Human Services Leadership Council just that. And I definitely think it'll be good if you're interested in going. Definitely contact me. Their address for Prairie State College is quite simply 202 South Halsted Street, Chicago Heights, Illinois, 60411. And they show a picture here. I'll show it real quickly. It looks like it's in the main building. I know that if you cross the street, there are buildings for the school. If you cross Vollmer, there are buildings connected with Prairie State. I don't think it's there. If you go ahead and you go into the main building and you ask somebody that works there, hey, where are all these bigwig, fancy legislators and senators? And I'm pretty sure they'll know, and they'll definitely help you. And it's a pretty good community college, you know, so it's helped me a lot. No complaints. I love it. So there's always that. If you want to get involved that way, do it. I definitely want to make sure that we have the family support group. That's for you guys. Definitely keep going to that. Around here, Homewood, Flossmoor, Chicago Heights area. The closest one's Advocate South Suburban Hospital, and that's held the second Saturday of the month, 2 to 4 p.m. Advocate South Suburban is at 17800 Kedzie Avenue in Hazel Crest, 60429. If you walk into the hospital, ask the concierge, where is dining room 1? It is the lower level in the basement. It's chilly down there, so definitely bring like a sweater or something. Unfortunately, that's the second Saturday in the month. The fourth Thursday of the month, 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's another family support group for family and friends of mentally ill loved ones. I heard that a lot of people were interested in the family class of going to that one because it's at Christ Lutheran Church, which again, 14700 South 94th Avenue, Orland Park, 60462. Of the greatest importance out of all of this, contacts. If you want to contact the guy who runs the DBSA support group I go to in Lansing, you can email him. His name is Bill Bowers, and his email is lansingdbsa@yahoo.com, and it's just Lansing, all lowercase, LANSINGDBSA@yahoo.com. You can also go to dbsalliance.org, and you could look up someplace that might be there might be a meeting closer to you. I just know nearby where I lived in Homewood and Flossmoor, that area, the Lansing chapter was the closest one, and it's a really good group. But that's the contact is Bill Bowers, really nice guy. The other person to contact, obviously, if you've been to the family class, you know Len. He is, I believe you're vice president, right, Len? I'm sorry, like I should know off the top of my head, but I'm not perfect. I do know that the president of the local South Suburban chapter is Marianne Bithos, or Bethos, I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name. She is constantly doing stuff for Nami and advocating, running like crazy. She always knows pretty much what's going on. Like, she's quite the remarkable advocate, and you can contact her. Her email address is marianne.bithos@gmail.com, and that's marianne.bithos@gmail.com. All lowercase. She's really good about getting back to you. You can call their phone line at 708-335-408. Honestly, I think emailing Len or emailing Marianne is the best. I think we have Len's cell phone number, honestly. If we went to the class, I know that. You can always email me. I will happily give you their contact information because right now I'm like definitely struggling to make sure that I keeping up with you guys, keeping up with everything else going on in my life, so on and so forth. That's pretty much it. The DVSA Wellness Tracker, again, I have nothing but good things to say about it. It's really good. Another one that I don't like the title, is called Make Me Well. And I was like, I don't want to be telling, just kind of handing that to patients that have motivation issues. Like, magically, this thing will make me well. But at the same time, I've downloaded the app, and it does just randomly pop up really positive and interesting information, like news stories, kind of like positive affirmation type stories with the science to back it, like how to get yourself motivated, how to succeed, little steps you can take, and just the fact that it constantly, like every single day, pops up on my phone. And I actually do check it out because I'm investigating the app to make sure that I would recommend it to you. So for somebody with low motivation or low self-esteem that's struggling with stuff like that, they might just get curious enough and read one of those articles that they have listed, and they have some pretty good, interesting things. I don't like to say, leave that really up to them, because I want to be like, hey, make me well. No, like, you have to take steps to make yourself well. So, while I don't like the title, that doesn't matter. It seems to be like something that I've read some of the articles someday, because it constantly pops up on my phone, and yeah, it can be pretty motivating and make you feel good. So if you're in a low spot like that, I'm also looking into a possible app for schizophrenics that they have a tendency to isolate. I definitely want to address schizophrenia much more in depth and detail with this patient binder as we go along, and dual diagnosis. That's a huge one, because those are two very prevalent, disabling disorders that people really, really struggle with, so on and so forth. So I honestly have most of the dual diagnosis thing done. I'll try to get that to you. So yeah, let's go ahead, plan ahead, be careful. Always open up with communications, ask what's going on. Don't be afraid to ask a question. You don't have to ask it mean, like, you don't have to take a tone, but let them know, hey, I'm going to go to so-and-so class that they ask. Why not let them know? But you do what's best for you. Sometimes people can't handle, there are reasons why people aren't telling their family member why they're going to a certain place. I totally get that. But just try to be like, to pretty much normalize it is, yeah, you have an illness, and I need to take care of myself to make sure that I'm well, I'm safe, I'm feeling good, and then hopefully that'll kind of inspire them to take some more initiative and dealing with and managing their own illness. And one final thing I'd like to address is medication safety. I had an issue the other night where it struck my mind. I was like, this patient, or it's not a patient, this particular individual struggles with an addiction, and I'm kind of starting to fear. I'm like, who has his medications? Are they being properly stored? Because what if he were to come home intoxicated one night and decide that he was going to all of a sudden take all of his pills at once to try to overdose? That is, a very frightening thought. Some of these medications do have the, very realistic potential to, overdose and be lethal. And I definitely wouldn't want to see that happen to anybody. So if, keep that in mind. Some people, they need to have that medication on the go with them. If you're monitoring them and their medication and dispensing it to them, make sure that they have just enough so that, if I have a panic attack, I have my one medication, like 2-3 pills on me, maybe, just in case there is an emergency and I need it. Me being not, well, I always try to be a nurse, plan ahead, be prepared, and I carry my own. I wouldn't give this to a psych patient, but I'm sure I've tried to overdose on some of these pills, and let me tell you, it's just not very effective, and it's an unpleasant way, and usually not yeah. But I carry Benadryl for allergic reactions. I carry aspirin in case of cardiac emergencies. I carry ibuprofen because it's an anti-inflammatory medication. I carry something for the stomach, and Band-Aids just because I'm like a little Girl Scout, or I guess I'd say it more in Boy Scouts, be prepared, but just also keep in mind somebody could be allergic to that medication, so medication management, just keep that in mind, because like I said, I was faced with a circumstance the other night in which I was like, I really should have, I can't even say, because he is an adult, should I don't have control over it, but it does frighten me, it does concern me, and I do want to bring it up, so it's in your mind. Who is in control of their medications? Are they taking it? Are they not taking it? Are they taking too much? Are they taking too little? Do they have, access to it? Is it safe for them to have that type of access to it? That's totally something you would have to figure out with them, or they would have to figure out for themselves, so just be mindful of that, because I would never want to see anything bad happen to anyone ever. So I love you guys. Thank you for hanging in there with me. If you have any questions about what I went over, handouts, upcoming events, contact me, contact Marianne, contact Len. Go to the websites nami.org, dbsalliance.org for the DBSA. Great programs. You gotta kind of stay a couple steps ahead in this illness, otherwise just a good word of advice: be proactive. It can be proactive, right? All right, more to come.